Hello, KBLA delegation. Tavis Smiley here. On Saturday, October 25th, LA Trade Tech becomes the epicenter of ideas that matter. The Left Coast Forum is bringing together voices that challenge, inspire, and illuminate, with keynote presentations from people like noted economist Richard Wolff, the man who breaks down capitalism in ways that make sense to working folk like you and me, and Dr. Cornel West will be there, the brilliant philosopher and activist who never stops fighting for justice and speaking truth to power and to the powerless, for that matter. So this isn't just another conference. This is where ideas get tested, where the conversations that shape our future begin. Multiple plenary sessions, dynamic speakers, real talk about the issues that impact our communities, and then some good food and a live band. Saturday, October 25th, LA Trade Tech, Left Coast Forum. The event is free and open to the public, but you must register at our KBLA1580.com website, where you can also peep the plenary topics. The future belongs to those who show up and engage. So don't just think about change, be part of the conversation that creates it. The Left Coast Forum is brought to you by the LA Progressive, the Empowerment Congress, Community Coalition, Partnership for Growth LA, Southwest Voter Registration Education Project, LA Care Health Plan, United Teachers Los Angeles, Black Progressive Action Coalition, St. John's Community Health, the National Lawyers Guild, the Weingart Foundation, and more. Space is limited, so if I were you, I'd register right now at KBLA1580.com. Your voice matters, your presence matters. We'll see you there.
I'm gonna try to keep it coming. Things ain't always smooth, but I'll be alright as long as I can find the good. Yes, I will. Somehow I know that I can make it. You seem to like my style. Don't you worry, I'm gonna be around a while. I'm just happy to see you talk to me. I can start again.
Live from historic Leimert Park in Los Angeles, California, I'm Tavis Smiley, and I'm so glad to see you and me back in stride again. Before we get started with today's show, let me invite you to follow me on Facebook and Instagram at The Real Tavis Smiley, and get updates on X, that's formerly Twitter, at Tavis Smiley. By the way, should you miss any part of today's program or want to catch up on previous shows, you can always visit thetavisSmileyShow.com. That's thetavisSmileyShow.com, or wherever you get your podcast, and listen to the Tavis Smiley podcast version of this live program at your leisure. Another great show on tap for you today. Before I get into the rundown, tomorrow I am away on travel, and we are honored to have an iconic guest sitting in this seat tomorrow, Chuck D. That Chuck D, sitting in this seat tomorrow for all 3 hours with some great guests he'll be talking to. I am honored and humbled to know that Chuck D will be sitting in my chair tomorrow. So you got a great time tomorrow with Chuck D in this seat tomorrow for all 3 hours. That said, in our second hour today, No Kings has announced that Saturday, October 18th is the next day of nationwide actions, which makes today, I think, a rather good day for a conversation with noted theologian Dr. Reggie L. Williams, who comes in studio next hour to talk about the historic and current relationship between Christianity and fascism. It's going to be a great conversation with the good Reverend Reggie L. Williams in our second hour. In our third hour,
I know you're grieving, but I want to tell you that your son was murdered. They sweep stuff underneath the rug all the time.
If you're an inmate in Alabama prison, you're probably praying every night that nothing bad happens to you. It's dangerous and volatile. It could explode at any moment.
I mean, it's corrupt. That's all you can say. It happens. We're finished.
What are we finished with?
Tell me.
Why?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hold on a minute. Police in here.
Oh, okay.
Don't talk.
We had record numbers of people leaving out of here in body bags. They don't want the public to see what's really going on the inside.
How can a journalist go into a war zone but can't go into a prison in the United States of America? The state is settling one lawsuit after another. There's no consequences for their actions.
It's not the inmate that's killing them folks. It's the guards.
There's an argument that there is some systemic problem within all of our facilities, and I wholeheartedly disagree with that.
How can you defend this?
That one guard, he knew something. I could tell he was a liar.
We are going to pursue it based on the facts to the fullest extent that we're allowed.
Their biggest fear is to see us come together on one accord. We got to take our power back. We have to come together and make a stand that our life is worth something.
I came to prison in 1985. I know what these folks are doing.
We have been taking life and death risks to get this information out while we still can.
In Hour 3, filmmakers Andrew Jarecki and Charlotte Kaufman talk about their new documentary, The Alabama Solution, which has been described as one of the most powerful exposés of the inhumanity of the American prison system, close quote. I saw it last night, and it lives up to that description. We'll talk about the Alabama Solution and the inhumanity in our prison system in our third hour today. But in this first hour, a conversation with Christopher Sebastian Parker, UC Santa Barbara professor and founder and CEO of Black Insights Research, about the ways in which the data suggests to us that Black people in particular are having a real issue with these National Guard troops being sent by Donald Trump into cities. So he was blocked, as we discussed on this program yesterday, blocked going into Portland, but it's on and popping in Chicago. I saw some video last night that was beyond disturbing about some raids in Chicago in which some Black folk were caught up. This is not just a Brown issue. Before I get into our conversation with Christopher, let me just play one or two clips for you right quick. Well, let's do one now, Miles. We'll do the other one when we come forward. I think I want to start with this clip of, speaking of Chicago, Governor J.B. Pritzker and Illinois Attorney General Kwame Raoul, who's a guest on this program not long ago, talking about suing the Trump administration for this troop deployment in Chicago. Take a listen.
Without my permission and against my vigorous objections, the president has federalized 300 Illinois National Guard military troops and hundreds of National Guard members from Texas, and he has ordered them to activate for duty in Illinois. I have called upon Governor Abbott to immediately withdraw his support for this decision and refuse to allow Texas National Guard members to be used in this way. Let me be clear. Donald Trump is using our service members as political props and as pawns in his illegal effort to militarize our nation's cities.
This morning, I filed a lawsuit challenging the unlawful deployment of the National Guard troops to Illinois, including the Illinois National Guard, the call for the Texas National Guard. And my lawyers have just, as the governor updated you, were just in court arguing these actions. The American people, regardless of where they reside, should not live under the threat of occupation by the United States military.
That's the governor of Illinois, J.B. Pritzker, and the Attorney General Kwame Raoul talking about their lawsuit against the Trump administration, what's happening in Chicago right now. As I said last night, I saw some disturbing video. So it's happening in another U.S. city that happens to have another Black mayor. Put a pin in that for now. When we come forward, I'll tell you what Donald Trump has had to say about Chicago, and then we'll jump straight into our dialogue with Christopher Sebastian Parker in this first hour. You are listening to Tavis Smiley.
Generous listening.
Charitable listening.
It's why everybody wants to talk to Tavis. The conversation continues when we come forward.
Make a move into a home of your own.
With City National Bank's Ladder Up Home Loan Grant, you could receive up to $20,000 that you never need to pay back. Use it toward your down payment, save on closing costs, or to buy down your mortgage rate. Find out more at cnb.com/ladderuphome. City National, here for every stage of the journey. Property must be in a qualifying market in California, New York, or New Jersey. Additional terms and conditions apply. Not all applicants will qualify. Terms are subject to change without notice. City National Bank is an equal housing lender. Member FDIC. NMLS number 536994.
BET and PBS, the Tom Joyner Morning Show, and NPR, the cover of Jet and the cover of Time. #1 on the New York Times bestsellers list, 20 honorary doctorate degrees, a dozen NAACP Image Awards, a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, a Presidential Lifetime Achievement Award. From talk shows to talk radio, nobody's ever done it better. This is Tavis Smiley.
Hey, KBLA 1580 delegation, your health matters to us. We know that information is power, especially when it comes to prevention and treatment. That's why we're proud to introduce the brand new KBLA Health and Wellness Hub. This online space is built just for you, connecting our community to trusted health resources, culturally relevant care, and even access to diverse clinical trials and emerging therapies. Whether you're looking for information on common conditions, mental health support, or just want to stay on top of your wellness journey, we got you. And the best part, it's all on our website at kbla1580.com. Accessible, empowering, community-focused. So just go to kbla1580.com and click on the Health and Wellness Hub icon, because knowledge is power and your health is everything. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-297-1563 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-297-1563. That's 800-297-1563. What do you have to lose? Call 800-297-1563. Again, 800-297-1563.
And the top-rated African-American talk show host in the nation, according to Talkers Magazine. You're tapped in with Tavis Smiley right now.
Tavis Smiley, in UC Santa Barbara, professor and founder and CEO of Black Insights Research, Christopher Sebastian Parker, who's on the line. I'm going to him right now. Well, actually, I'm going to him in about a minute and 10 seconds. I promised you I'd play this Trump clip. So that was J.B. Pritzker, the governor of Illinois, and the Attorney General Kwame Raoul talking about their lawsuit against Trump, what's happening right now in Chicago, and it is not cute, as I've said 2 times already. Here's Donald Trump, and then we'll get to Christopher.
Chicago is going to be very safe. And you say, why is it that a governor wouldn't accept free help from regardless? I mean, whether it's National Guard or the military or anybody. I mean, if women raped and beaten and knocked to hell, and the same with men where they're being shot all over the place in large numbers, we have a governor get up and say, oh, it's safe, we can handle it. He can't handle it. He's an incompetent guy. That's why they threw him out of the family business. I don't care if it's the National Guard, the Army, the Marines, the Air Force. I don't care who comes in as long as we're safe. And that's the way most of the public feels. We're going to make Chicago really great again, and we're going to stop this crime. Then we're going to go to another one, and we're going to go city by city. We're going to have safe cities.
The Insurrection Act, under what conditions or terms would you?
Well, I'd do it if it was necessary. So far, it hasn't been necessary, but we have an Insurrection Act for a reason. If I had to enact it, I'd do that. If people were being killed and courts were holding us up, or governors or mayors were holding us up, sure, I'd do that. I mean, I want to make sure that people aren't killed.
All right, so I hope you heard that clip and heard it carefully. That's Donald Trump teeing up his invoking of the Insurrection Act. That's just a tee up right there, just a warm up. So I hope you heard that. It's coming. Trust and believe. That's number one. Number two, I repeat, as I've said before on this program, in these major cities with these black mayors that Donald Trump is targeting, crime is actually down. It's down. He keeps talking about crime as if that's his animating issue or reason for going into these cities. Number two. And number three, and I'll yield it to Christopher for the rest of the hour. Number three, what you call free help that you're offering to J.B. Pritzker, we call invasion, we call occupation. It's not just free help. So you heard that. Enough of that. So there's J.B. Pritzker, there's the Attorney General, and there's your President Donald Trump. And here is Christopher Sebastian Parker. How are you, sir?
Hey, I'm fine. Thank you, Tavis, and yourself.
Man, if I complained, I'd be an ingrate. I'm doing well and glad to have you on the program. Thanks for your patience. That introduction was a little bit longer than usual, but you understand why I had to set the frame for you to do what you're going to do for the rest of this hour. So that's what we know at this hour. Now, what you know that I want the audience to be empowered by is some data about how black people in particular are viewing Donald Trump and these National Guard troops going into cities. I saw that provocative piece that you wrote, called you and said, come on the show, let's talk about it. And here you are. Thank you for that. But as I mentioned a moment ago, I saw some video last night. And it's all over the internet. It's trending. You can see it yourself if you haven't already. Some black folk are getting caught up in these ICE raids in Chicago. That's my setup. It's all yours, Christopher. Take it and run.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so when Trump says, as you say, you're president, as Trump says, most people are in favor of it. Well, that's only if he's looking at it from perspective of white folks. Mm-hmm. For us, on the other hand, people of the black community, we see it quite differently. For example, 84% of black folks oppose the deployments in principle, and that's compared to 66% of Latinos and 49% of whites. So you have a majority of white folks that embrace the deployments. And so, some black folks are really against this. And this has the historical precedents. We can go all the way back to 1917 and the East St. Louis uprising. Some people call them riots for political reasons. I call them uprisings. And that, we had troops deployed there to try to quell what was black people were experiencing back then as racism and discrimination, obviously. And then we can come forward to 1957 when Orville Faubus in Arkansas, mm-hmm. to oppose the Little Rock Nine from desegregating Central High School, he deployed troops in order to stop desegregation then. And then in the 1960s, us from LA, we remember this really well. I was just a little baby, but the 1965 Watts uprisings, not only in 1965 in Watts, but also in Detroit and Newark and Chicago, federal troops were used to tamp down or put down black resistance to racism and discrimination.
Mm-hmm. That history is fascinating for me because it gives us a sense of the ways in which the National Guard has been deployed over the years. Clearly, there are examples where we were on the wrong side of this deployment. But I can't think of any of those examples that suggest to me that the National Guard has ever been more politicized than it is being politicized right now by Donald Trump, Christopher.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, some of the data that we collected recently, as 2024 in December, 71% of black people said that they would feel threatened if Trump deployed troops on American soil. Mm-hmm. So that's a big deal. And that's, Trump is saying that most people would embrace this. That is totally and categorically not true. And again, I think it's largely due to this history. I mean, there's only one occasion that I can think of, which was when President Johnson deployed the National Guard, to protect the Selma to Montgomery March in 1965. That included the March over the Edmund Pettus Bridge, better known as Bloody Sunday. Mm-hmm.
Yep. No, I recall that well. I'm going to go back to these numbers that you mentioned a moment ago. I commenced this hour by my introduction to you, I should say, by telling the audience that the No Kings institution, organization, group, whatever you want to call it, No Kings has announced that October 18th is their next activation day, if I can say it, activation day across the country. And the last time we had a No Kings Day, it was pretty robust, protest all across the country. I was heartened to see the ways in which these No Kings protests sort of got off the ground. So here we come for another round of these protests again on Saturday, October the 18th, all across the country. And I'm thinking about that and trying to square that with these data points you just laid out. Let me ask you one more again to run through those numbers right quick. 66% for Latinos. Give me those three numbers: Black, white, and Latino, and then I'll give you my question.
Sure. 84% of Black folks oppose the deployments in principle, compared to 66% of Latinos and 49% of whites.
Okay, so there you have it. I don't ask you to speak for Latinos. I sure ain't gonna ask you to speak for the good white folk. But I am fascinated, not surprised per se, but fascinated by these numbers that 84% of us, Black folk, that is, oppose these troop deployments. The Latino community opposes it at the level of 66% and 49% for white. I won't take it. We talk about the Black thing. Let me jump this Latino number and then the white number. How is it to your mind? And again, I'm asking you to speak for them. I wish my friend Ruben Navarrete were here right about now. But that Latino, that Hispanic Chicano community is being targeted more than anybody. Certainly Black folk are being targeted. This is our issue as much as it is anybody else's. But they are on the front lines of the targeting that is aimed at their community. How can that number be so low? Now, and I say so low, 66% obviously is above 51%, 50 plus 1%. I get it. But that number ought to be at 100%. Christopher, as far as I'm concerned, if they're targeting your community, how can the number only be 66% in opposition?
Okay, let's think about it like this. So you have some in the Latino community, right, who believe these neighborhoods need to be cleaned up. And mainly, I mean, think about how this is in concert with the ICE raids, right? Mm-hmm. And this is actually, the ICE raids are a pretext for this. So you think about the Latino community, how some of them is like, you know what, they want to come across the border, right, and pull the ladder up, you know, and not let the rest of the folks, you know, who are coming over follow them, because frankly, from what I heard, now this is not me speaking, mm-hmm. from what I hear from my Latino colleagues, it's this idea that, you know, these folks who are quote unquote illegal are affecting the perceptions of the Latino community writ large mm-hmm. in the United States. Mm-hmm. And so they want to see some of these folks get hauled away. And so therefore, that's how I would account, you know, just in my humble opinion, you know, from talking to my Latino colleagues about why that number isn't higher.
I've talked to a number of my Latino friends, and we've had spirited conversations about, I think, the growing angst and the growing disappointment, the growing buyer's remorse, if I can put it that way, on the part of some Latinos who supported Donald Trump. Now, how you thought Donald Trump was going to do anything different than what he's doing, I don't know. But there are, you know, we all know the numbers, and I'm sad to report once again that Donald Trump's Latino vote went up, has gone up every time he's run. And Donald Trump's Black vote has gone up every time he has run. Put a pin in that for the moment. My point is that if you have buyer's remorse because Trump is moving in a way that you thought he wasn't going to move, I still don't get why that number is only at 66%. I hear the point Christopher's making. I don't disagree with it. And I know I've talked to enough Latinos over my career to know that some of them feel like, hey, I did it the right way. I got here the right way, which wasn't easy to do, and you can't come across the board and do it the wrong way. I know Latinos in these conversations who are caught up in this assimilation. They want to be a part of the American dream and a part of the American fabric, and so they separate themselves from others. And let's just can I just keep it real? Can I keep it real here? The same is true in the Black community. We have this divide. There are a whole bunch of Black people who look down on other Black people. You recall the Chris Rock joke. There are Black folk and there are niggas. And even Black folk don't like niggas. That's the Chris Rock joke. Y'all heard it. And I ain't making it up. And I'm not being gratuitous with it. But we understand the joke that Chris Rock was making. That even in our community, there are too many of us who look down on other Black folk. We separate ourselves from them. It's as real as rain, whether you like it or not. So I'm not surprised on the one hand that this sentiment, this reality exists in our community as well as it does in the Latino community. But that number is just arresting for me. Pardon the pun. It's arresting for me that the number wouldn't be anywhere close to 100% when that community is the community being targeted. Let me leave that alone for the moment. Let me move now to the good white folk. Only 49%. I just mentioned the No King's Day coming up. Only 49% of our white fellow citizens are bothered by these raids. Bothered by this approach? That I don't get, Christopher.
First of all, let me comment on what you just said a minute ago. I'm glad you said all that stuff and not me.
Yeah.
Right. I don't disagree with you. Right. I mean, like, think about, you know, the work of fabulous work of Frantz Fanon in Black Skins, White Masks and Wretched of the Earth.
Sure,
and,
sure,
you know,
sure.
He showed that, you know, there are reasons why, not legitimate, there are reasons why Black folk don't like Black folk sometimes. Mm-hmm. Right. So we can expect the same thing to happen in other communities. Now, on the white folks, this doesn't surprise me at all. I mean, think about where Trump gets most of his support from white folks, right? So this shouldn't surprise anyone. They see Trump is coming in and cleaning up this mess in urban America. So this should not come as a great shock to anybody. Yes, we do have some pockets of white progressives in these cities for sure, right? But we're not just talking about polling white people in cities. We're talking about polling white folks the whole country over, right? And so that's going to include rural America. And we probably know, I'm not even going to lie, we know where most rural white folks are going to stand on this.
Yeah. Well, the thing about that number, when I say it, I don't get it. I'm not naive. I get it. I do get it. When I say I don't, when I say, you know, that I'm troubled by it or surprised by it, what I'm suggesting is that 49% doesn't even track with his favorable and unfavorable numbers. You see where I'm going here? That 49%, only 49% who disapprove of this means that there's 50+% who do approve of it. And there aren't 50+% who approve of his performance overall. So they like this particular policy. Talk about the white folk now. They seem, according to the data, to like this policy, even as they don't like him. And that makes a whole nother statement, if you follow me. You can dislike this guy, but you can like him for what he's doing on this front. You follow me, Christopher?
No, I got you on that. And obviously, you know, if they were just polling Republicans, right? This number would be a lot higher, right? But they're also polling Democrats and some independents too, which is even more troubling.
Yeah. No, again, it just that number just doesn't make sense when you look at his. It does make sense if you understand what I just said. I feel like I'm rambling here. But his approval rating is not that high. It ain't plus 50%. It ain't 50% plus. But they seem in the white community to not be bothered by this particular policy. And so it's like cherry picking. So you don't like this guy overall. His numbers are in the toilet. There's a bunch of other stuff he's doing that you can't stand, that you don't support, you don't approve of. But on this particular piece of his sending troops to cities with black mayors and going after brown folk, you ain't got a problem with that. See, that's problematic for me. Let me pause there for the moment. Our guest is Christopher Sebastian Parker, UC Santa Barbara professor, founder, and CEO of Black Insights Research. More to discuss with him when we come forward on Tavis Smiley.
Why does Tavis say when we come forward? Because he's not going back. And you don't have to go back either. Forward ever, backward never. More of Tavis Smiley when we come forward.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. It's day 7 of the government shutdown. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries notes both GOP and Democratic funding bills have failed, leaving 1.3 million active duty troops unpaid by October 15th.
What we've seen is the classic definition of legislative insanity, doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting that there are going to be different results.
Social Security and SNAP continue for now. The Supreme Court has rejected Louis Farrakhan's defamation case against 2 Jewish groups that called him anti-Semitic. Lower courts ruled the claims were protected opinion, citing Farrakhan's own remarks. Farrakhan argued the labels caused serious harm. And Diddy's lawyers are asking he serve his 50-month sentence at Fort Dix in New Jersey. The low-security prison offers intensive drug rehab and is close to family. He's already served 12 months in Brooklyn. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Celebrating 100 years, Mount St. Mary's University LA is dedicated to moving your life and career forward. Earn your undergraduate or graduate degree and become unstoppable. Find out how at msmu.edu.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Dodgers remained undefeated in the postseason after a tense win Monday night in Philadelphia. The Dodgers held on for a 4-3 victory. They're up 2-0 in the best-of-5 divisional playoffs. They can close out the Phillies with a win in Game 3 Wednesday night at Dodger Stadium. NBA Commissioner Adam Silver said there are no plans to move the NBA All-Star Game if the Clippers are punished by the league for alleged salary cap violations. The NBA is investigating the Clippers and team owner Steve Ballmer. The Clippers are the host franchise for the All-Star Game, scheduled for February 15th at the Intuit Dome in Inglewood. After Week 5 of the NFL regular season, New York Jets coach Aaron Glenn remains the only coach in the league without a win. The Jets are 0-5. Glenn, in his first season with the Jets, is one of 5 African-American head coaches in the NFL. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about. Hi, I'm Zoe Williams, a.k.a. the voice of reason, encouraging you to join me weekdays from 7 to 9 p.m. for the world's most intriguing relationship radio roundtable. Every night, I facilitate and encourage our loyal listeners to participate in the most engaging relationship discussions you'll hear anywhere. So make it a point to rendezvous with me, Zoe Williams, the voice of reason, Monday through Friday, 7 to 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Trust me, your relationships will never be the same. The VOR is on fire tonight.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black. This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-297-1563 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-297-1563. That's 800-297-1563. What do you have to lose? Call 800-297-1563. Again, 800-297-1563.
You know that Big Bargain detergent jug is 80% water, right? It doesn't clean as well.
80% water? I thought I was getting a better deal because it's so big.
If you want a better clean, Tide Pods are only 12% water. The rest is pure concentrated cleaning ingredients.
Oh, let me make an announcement.
Attention shoppers, if you want a real deal, try Tide Pods.
Stop paying for watered-down detergents. Pay for clean. If it's got to be clean, it's got to be Tide Pods. Water content based on the leading bargain liquid detergent.
Paid for by government.com. Did you know the United States Mint has issued a new Morgan silver dollar coin in proof condition for the first time? Not only that, they are also minted in 99.9% pure silver for the first time ever in history. Coin experts are calling this an amazing opportunity for anyone that knows the enduring popularity of Morgans. But you must hurry. Only 400,000 of these legal tender silver dollars were issued. These first ever Morgan silver dollars are brand new with stunning mirror-like finish, minted by the iconic San Francisco Mint. Call now and you're guaranteed a new first ever 99.9% pure silver proof Morgan dollar. To learn more, call 1-800-973-9717. If you order now, you will receive a free coin collector bonus pack, a $25 value, free with every order. Call 1-800-973-9717 now to secure your new Morgan silver dollars before they are gone. That's 1-800-973-9717.
Freedom is an endless meeting. So let's get back to it with Tavis Smiley.
Tavis Smiley and Christopher Sebastian Parker, UC Santa Barbara professor and founder and CEO of Black Insights Research. Christopher is a regular on this program because he is one of the few people, maybe the only person in the country, who is, through his company, Black Insights Research, continuously tracking Black voters and their sentiments on a variety of issues. And so we tap in with them as often as we need to or can to get a sense of what we are thinking. I'm on the radio talking to people every day about issues, but it's great to have access to somebody who can tell me and tell you what we are actually thinking. and thereby you come to understand that you may not be the only person feeling the way that you are feeling about a variety of issues once you hear the data about the way other people are processing these particular issues. And the issue of the day is how Black folk in particular feel about these National Guard deployments that Donald Trump is stepping up in cities all across this country. I'm sitting in LA. We are heard across the country. As I often say, I'm grateful for all the cities and stations that carry this particular program. But I'm in LA every day, and in this studio in Leimert Park, as you know, and in our city, we were the first essentially that Donald Trump used as a test case. So our Black Mayor Karen Bass pushed back as forcefully, as aggressively as she could against what Trump was doing. The governor here in California, Gavin Newsom, pushed back on, and that didn't stop Donald Trump from coming to LA. And now he is taking his show, his circus, on the road to other cities, and the city at the moment is Chicago. So never mind the protestation of Brandon Johnson, the mayor there, who I just saw in Chicago a few weeks ago. Never mind the protestations of the governor, J.B. Pritzker, or the attorney general. He has moved into Chicago, and I again have seen some footage, as you have probably seen. If you haven't, just Google it. It's everywhere online, of a number of raids in Chicago, going into apartment buildings, raiding people, arresting people, Black folk getting caught up in this. And so this issue, it's impossible to move. Here's the thing. Let me just pause for a second. LA is not a chocolate city like Chicago is. Speaking of data, Christopher, you'll appreciate this. I had the honor, I think most in this audience know, if you follow my career, I started working for Tom Bradley, the first African-American mayor of the city. And what's always fascinating for me is that Tom Bradley set a record in the city that will never be broken, as we all know, as the first Black mayor. He runs in 69, loses to Sam Yorty, runs again in 73, and he wins. And from 73 forward, he is mayor of LA for 20 consecutive years, almost unheard of. 5 consecutive 4-year terms, Tom Bradley is mayor of the city of LA. If you fly into LA internationally, you fly into the Tom Bradley International Terminal. So named after this iconic mayor in this city. But every time he ran, Chris, for every 4 years Tom Bradley ran, over a 20-year span, the number of Black voters in the city proper was going down. Black folk were running out of the city because of the gang violence and lack of affordability to buy homes, et cetera, et cetera. So Black people were leaving the city. It wasn't just white flight, it was Black flight during that 20-year period. Every 4 years he runs, Christopher, there are fewer Black voters in the city, and yet Tom Bradley keeps winning. Speaks to the kind of mayor that he was and how successful he was at pulling this off over a 20-year period. So LA is not the chocolate city that it once was. Still a lot of Black folk in Southern California, but not in the city of LA proper, because they can't afford to buy a home in LA. Okay. Now, jump to Chicago and other cities, Chicago, Detroit, Atlanta, etc. These cities are Memphis. These cities are far more Black than LA is. What's your point, Tavis? Glad you asked. You can't go into a city like Chicago and start engaging these raids and Black folk not get caught up in these raids. There are just too many Black people in the city of Chicago to avoid just to single out Latinos and Black folk to not get caught up in this trap. So that said, for those who may have just tuned in, Chris, forgive me right quick here, those numbers once again, what your data points tell you, and I'll push forward from there. I just want people to make sure we're on the same page if they tuned in late and didn't hear the actual data points.
Sure, Tavis. And 84% of Black Americans oppose the deployments in principle, compared to 2/3 of Latinos and not even 50% of whites. But one of the things I want to point out, though, Tavis, is since Black Insights, we specialize in the Black community, I want to point out the slight difference in what Black folks are feeling now versus what they were feeling in December 2024.
Give it to me.
So in 2024, the last wave of our survey, 71% of Black people said they would feel threatened if Trump deployed troops on American soil. Now, that was back in December before it actually happened. Now that it's actually happened, it's jumped up to 84%.
Yeah.
So prospectively, it wasn't even 3/4, right? Now we're more than 8 and 10.
Yeah.
Since it's happening right now.
Yeah.
So that's one thing I want to say. And then I just kind of wanted to say that hopefully I'm not jumping the shark here, but that the Democrats can use this to their advantage if they play it smart. And I can elaborate on that.
I want to hear that 1 second. Before you do that, though, I want to get to this earlier. We ran out of time in the first half. But your survey finds the data points you just laid out. But the phrase you keep using is in principle. Excuse me. I've heard that. The audience has heard it. I don't miss stuff. I try not to in the audience. I got a really bright audience. They heard it too. When you say that black people, Latino people, white people, ... in principle oppose this, why the phrase in principle? What does that mean?
Well, because the way that the question was phrased was such that, what do you think about, these deployments? I mean, these questions were asked, I think right around the deployments to Washington, D.C. before they started to proliferate. Right. So Washington, D.C. at the time was a touchstone. Right. So it's about, generally speaking. Now there are some other questions in the survey. I don't have the numbers in front of me right now that ask whether or not the deployments were political versus real public safety. And an overwhelming number of black folks felt that they were political and not in the interest of public safety.
Yeah. You don't have the numbers in front of you. Let me just check your memory. Do you recall whether or not the Latino community and the good white folks felt the same way, that it was more about politics than public safety? I hear us in that category. Do you recall what the Latino and the white number was?
Yeah, I don't recall what the numbers are off the top of my head, but what I can say is that the distribution mirrors what I just said in terms of principle. You had black folks that believed it was far more about politics than public safety, and then Latinos, which were about 20% less than black folks who thought it was about politics versus public safety. And there were a few more white folks who thought it was more about politics and public safety, right around 50 to 55%.
Yeah. That is interesting because the way they keep framing this, as they being the Trump administration, they keep framing this, of course, as an issue of public safety, when we all know that's not what it's about. It is politics. So I'm fascinated by those numbers. What do you make of the fact, and I think I get it, but you're the expert here, you're the pollster, the researcher. What do you make of the fact that number in 2024 about Donald Trump moving the way he's actually moving now? The number in our community was 71%. We were 71% in opposition to it before it happened, and now we've jumped to 84%. How do you read that jump?
Well, because I think, quite frankly, there were a number of black folks who were skeptical even then that Trump would try to pull such a stunt. They thought the likelihood of this happening was relatively remote, and now that it's happening, it's like, oh, this is really happening. So that's, so even some of us were like, this is probably not going to happen. But now that it's happened, like we're above 8 and 10.
Yep. I think you take my point here. When you do research and you do polling and you're asking these kinds of questions, tell me why you do this. And I'm asking this. I appreciate your work, so don't take us the wrong way. I'm not casting aspersion. I'm glad you do the work, and I'm glad you're on this program to explain it. But my gut and your gut, and I suspect the guts of everybody listening would have said to you before you did this research that this is where black folk were going to come out, that we would in fact be pretty overwhelmingly opposed to these kinds of raids. We ain't down with law enforcement to begin with, given the ways in which we've been maltreated over the years. So why even do a research study like this?
Yeah, so that's a really good question, and friends and family, say the same thing to me. It's like, hey, we already do that. Like, yeah, but it's kind of one thing to know intuitively, right, or anecdotally, but it's a whole different thing, to add precision to it. Just so we can speak with numbers, because some people in our own circles, might, that guy right, or maybe you're right, but trying to explain this to masses of people, especially some people that are unfriendly to us, it's best to be backed by the data, just to add some precision to it, and more certitude to it. Like, it's really, really necessary, right? Basically, we have these hypotheses as we sit around as folks and among our friends and like, yeah, I knew that. And so, frankly, what we do is often as researchers, we base our hypotheses, what we think is happening or our claims on our own intuition. And then it's up to us to find the data to validate or invalidate our hypotheses or claims.
Well, I assume your intuition was right on this one. I assume, Christopher, it was right on this one.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, 100%. 100%.
That's what I thought.
100%. And Tavis, you can imagine how some of these conversations go, at least with some of my friends and I imagine some of your friends.
Yeah.
I bring them this data and they're like, for real, fool, I could have told you that. Why you had to spend all that money and time? So we know how this goes.
No, I get it. When we come forward, I want to pivot just ever so gently to a conversation with Christopher about Kamala Harris, in part because Christopher is the guy we talked to all throughout the campaign, who was tracking black numbers better than anybody else in the country about how black people felt about the Kamala Harris situation. I'm just curious to get his take now on Kamala in retrospect, now that it's over, now that she's written this book that other people are having their say on. I don't think, and he hadn't told me he has. I suspect he hasn't done any research with black people on how they feel about Kamala. Now that she's had this book out to explain herself, the book just dropped. So I know he's done no research on it, but I'm curious, as a researcher, having tracked black numbers about Kamala all during that campaign, how he is processing the way that Kamala is trying to explain what happened in that campaign in the book 107 Days. We'll do that with Christopher Sebastian Parker when we come forward on Tavis Smiley.
Hope, agency, dignity. This is Tavis Smiley.
Can you dig it? Come on!
Hello, KBLA delegation. Tavis Smiley here. On Saturday, October 25th, LA Trade Tech becomes the epicenter of ideas that matter. The Left Coast Forum is bringing together voices that challenge, inspire, and illuminate, with keynote presentations from people like noted economist Richard Wolff, the man who breaks down capitalism in ways that make sense to working folk like you and me, and Dr. Cornel West will be there, the brilliant philosopher and activist who never stops fighting for justice and speaking truth to power and to the powerless, for that matter. So this isn't just another conference. This is where ideas get tested, where the conversations that shape our future begin. Multiple plenary sessions, dynamic speakers, real talk about the issues that impact our communities, and then some good food and a live band. Saturday, October 25th, LA Trade Tech, Left Coast Forum. The event is free and open to the public, but you must register at our KBLA1580.com website, where you can also peep the plenary topics. The future belongs to those who show up and engage. So don't just think about change, be part of the conversation that creates it. The Left Coast Forum is brought to you by the LA Progressive, the Empowerment Congress, Community Coalition, Partnership for Growth LA, Southwest Voter Registration Education Project, LA Care Health Plan, United Teachers Los Angeles, Black Progressive Action Coalition, St. John's Community Health, the National Lawyers Guild, the Weingart Foundation, and more. Space is limited, so if I were you, I'd register right now at KBLA1580.com. Your voice matters, your presence matters. We'll see you there.
Coverage varies by plan. View contracts and exclusions at endurancewarranty.com. If you have a 2004 or newer vehicle that's out of warranty or about to be, Endurance is urgently notifying U.S. drivers about their low-cost vehicle coverage plan designed to save drivers thousands on rising vehicle repair costs. Those who qualify can pick their plan, coverage, and repair shop. Roadside service, towing, and rental cars included. All covered repairs get paid directly to the repair shop for you. Call now for your free quote. Call 800-373-7519. That's 800-373-7519.
We asked seniors how to prevent Medicare scams.
My best advice, if you get a phone call, do not talk to the person. These people are well trained. Don't talk to them.
They don't know me. They're just trying to scam me.
Don't be fooled. Hang up. Just hang up.
Never give out your Medicare number.
They're going to get your number to put in a false claim.
If I get a call from someone, I don't pick up the phone. And should I pick up the phone and they ask for information, then I hang up.
How do you detect Medicare fraud?
Just like I check my credit card statements, I check my Medicare statements monthly.
Scammers can get a hold of your number, order medical devices through your account, and you're not even going to know about it if you don't look at your statement.
Check your statement every month.
If you get your statement and you see something that you know you did not have done, you report it.
Call your senior Medicare Patrol.
To report Medicare fraud, call the Senior Medicare Patrol at 855-613-7080.
Less monologue, more dialogue. Tavis Smiley continues right now.
He does indeed, with the UC Santa Barbara professor and founder and CEO of Black Insights Research, Christopher Sebastian Parker. Christopher, the Kamala book is out. Everybody's talking about it. And she is using this book to explain, as she sees it, what happened And everybody's got their own commentary about it. And I'm not trying to make you political, although that's what you do every day anyway. But since we talked to you all during this campaign about the data with regard to how black people process Kamala, what's your gut tell you? I know you ain't talked to every black person in America. I doubt you've done data research on this. What's your gut tell you, given the way you track black numbers, about the way black people are processing what Kamala is saying in this book?
Well, that's a really good question. It's funny that you asked me that because I just returned from seeing her on tour in San Francisco over the weekend.
Did you pay that $999 for a seat?
Yes.
Wow.
Some of my homeboys and I did.
Okay.
We had to see it, and it was moderated by your boy D.L. Hughley.
Yeah.
I was so happy to see that because we all know, they didn't agree on stuff, shall we say.
Well, let me cut in. Early on, they didn't agree, but DL sat with Kamala, and she apparently got his mind right. And as you may recall, he came around so much so he spoke at the DNC. So she put him on the list. He actually spoke at the DNC. So they finally became, good friends. So I'm not surprised. I didn't know that, but I'm not surprised to know that DL moderated the conversation. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, that's okay. So they smoothed over what some of the differences they had, but on stage, DL, like he was giving her the business in a really good way. And so I say that to say this. So no, I haven't had a chance to do the research, but just myself and my guys that were with me, we had some opinions about this stuff. And she seems to still believe, in my humble opinion, naively so, in America, that most people like this is not. Yes, this country has a racist history, but it's improving. And DL was like, nah, like, I can't go with you there. Right? So it was that kind of conversation. Like he kept it completely real. Well, to us, it seemed like she was still trying to keep her options open, which no hate, no shade. Yeah. Right. Because she might have another run, try to have another run at this. We don't see it. We don't see that there's any room for it. No. So that I would say that there were some of us who were really skeptical about some of the claims, that she's making about, not about the campaign, but about the state of America.
I got it. Let me say when we come forward in our remaining moments with Christopher Sebastian Parker, I want to probe that notion of her claims. Just stick around for this question. You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
What's your quarrel with the world? You're listening to Tavis Smiley. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. LA County's new Justice Care and Opportunities Department, or JCOD, is here to support justice-involved individuals and their families. The JCOD Support Center is now taking calls at 1-833-LACJCOD. That's 1-833-522-5263. Available 7 days a week from 6 a.m. to 11 p.m., the Support Center is your one-stop shop for re-entry issues and court support. They offer court reminders, connections to local services, transportation assistance for housing, court appearances, and childcare. The JCOD hotline provides personalized help to connect you with services that you need. And don't forget to check out justiceconnect.org for more information. Remember, it's free and available every day at 1-833-522-5263. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Lena Bloom for the Bail Project.
Imagine you're stuck in a jail cell and you can't afford bail and someone offers you a way out. Just plead guilty and you can go home and kiss your kids goodnight. What do you do? What thousands have. You plead guilty whether you are or not. Cash bail makes poverty a crime. That's why the Bail Project helps those who can't afford it while fighting to end cash bail, because freedom should be free.
Brought to you by the Ad Council.
If you're like me, 60 and retired, making ends meet, especially here at the supermarket and drugstore, is tough. I'm so blessed to have found benefitscheckup.org. It's a free and confidential website from the National Council on Aging that connected me to $1,200 a year in programs that help pay for food, medicine, utilities, and more. Maybe it can help you. benefitscheckup.org.
You know where you want to go in life, and City National Bank can help. City National knows the dedication it takes to build your vision for the future into a reality, and our team is here for you. We have a wide range of options to help, from personal savings accounts to interest-bearing money market savings accounts and more, all designed to help you get where you want to go. City National, here for every stage of the journey. Learn more at cnb.com. City National Bank is a subsidiary of Royal Bank of Canada, member FDIC.
Ready to order?
Yes. We're earning unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with the Capital One Saver card. So let's just get one of everything.
Everything?
Fire everything. The Capital One Saver card is at table 27, and they're earning unlimited 3% cash back.
Yes, Chef! This is so nice.
Had a feeling you'd want 3% cash back on dessert.
Ooh, tiramisu.
Earn unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with the Capital One Saver card. Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
More honesty than you can handle. More empowerment than you can imagine. You're tuned into Tavis Smiley.
Tavis Smiley and Christopher Sebastian Parker. I got 2.5 minutes left here, Chris. I've heard we all heard Kamala say that years ago. You know, America's not a racist country. And the bottom line is, Kamala's lying, and Kamala knows better. She don't even believe that. But the reason why I raise this, I'm raising because I'm following you. This notion of these claims that she continues to be. Now, she done gone through this whole process. She has seen the way that she was maltreated. She saw the way that racism was at play. And to your point, she's still holding on to this notion that America is not a racist country. She does not believe that in her heart. I can't imagine if she does believe it, she got a real problem. But she's saying it because that's what black politicians feel sometimes they have to say, but that's disturbing. Again, you're the researcher here. You're the pollster. You follow these notions. What is the point of having somebody black in high office if they can't acknowledge the truth about the suffering of black people, Christopher?
That part. So
my goodness.
I mean, we all know why they do it, because
of course we do.
Here's a problem, Tavis, that I have with the Democratic Party that just makes me crazy, right?
Right.
They're constantly trying to chase working class white voters.
Right.
They are gone.
Yep.
They ain't coming back.
They've been gone. They've been gone since LBJ.
Yes, they have.
Yeah.
We totally agree on that.
Yeah.
But they keep chasing them. But the more they chase them, the more alienated we get.
That's it.
Right. And if they keep doing this, I mean, like, that is a serious problem. And anyway, we're on the same page. And a lot of us are on the same page with that. I'm tired of that. But that's why they continue to say that, because they want to get these working class white folks on board.
Yeah.
Right. Period.
Yeah. And you're right. There's no evidence whatsoever that they're coming back. And they keep trying to moderate their positions. They keep saying things they know aren't true. And to your point about keeping her options open, she ain't got no options left to run for public office. That's it. That book, speaking of book, that book has been written and is closed, and there would not be a new version of it.
And look, Tavis, they don't even let white failed Democrat nominees come back.
That's
right. Like,
that's right.
What are we talking about here?
Yeah, no, it's over. It's over. I mean, and I think, if you write a book like this, you got to know it's over. I mean, I ain't mad at her for expressing herself. It's her choice. She has agency, but you can't write a book like that and think you're gonna make a comeback. I don't think so. Right. Anyway, I'm out of time. Christopher, thanks for your insights. We'll do it again, my friend. All the best to you, sir.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Good to have you on. More of Tavis Smiley when we come forward.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. It's day 7 of the government shutdown. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries notes both GOP and Democratic funding bills have failed, leaving 1.3 million active duty troops unpaid by October 15th.
What we've seen is the classic definition of legislative insanity, doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting that there are going to be different results.
Social Security and SNAP continue for now. The Supreme Court has rejected Louis Farrakhan's defamation case against 2 Jewish groups that called him anti-Semitic. Lower courts ruled the claims were protected opinion, citing Farrakhan's own remarks. Farrakhan argued the labels caused serious harm. And Diddy's lawyers are asking he serve his 50